The predominant research in entrepreneurship has pretty much focused on wealth creation and on technology-oriented firms. But in recent years, we saw a number of individuals who are doing something unusual. And these are the people who try to use entrepreneurial practices, activities, processes in order to solve social problems. We call them social entrepreneurs. And this social entrepreneurship is a phenomenon that is taking place around the globe. I came across a news article written by a former terrorist. And in that article, he talked about his journey, his life journey and experience of how he left the world of terrorism and how he became a normal person and how he was able to help other terrorists to recover, to live a mainstream lifestyle. So that was really a big trigger point. And I was really intrigued. What caused it? What was behind his transformation from a former terrorist into a person who helped other terrorists to recover, i.e., from the bad guy become the good guy, from a former terrorist into a social entrepreneur. So this was theory building inductive research in which I was trying to develop a new perspective, a new explanation about the mechanism of how social entrepreneurship can be a tool to liberate people who are trapped by political ideology, i.e. religious terrorism, and people who are trapped by their own past behavior. Because in order to be a religious terrorist, there must be some political ideology behind it that you get sort of sucked into the entire movement of terrorism. And even once you leave the world of terrorism, you may still carry the stigma, the labels, even the groups of the people that you used to hang around with. You are still a big part of that. So a key role of social entrepreneurship before I jump into the data collection was to sort of have some sort of expectation that social entrepreneurship can play a role to liberate these people from this entrapment, from this bonding, from this baggage, the previous baggage in their life. So what I did was I conducted inductive research. I interviewed at least two key person in this research, and both of them used to be a part of the terrorist movements. One of them, which is the main person in this story, is someone who has been involved in a lot of activities to promote Khalifa, which is Islamic State, but he was not so deeply involved. And the second person was much more involved, and he was sentenced for 10 years in a prison. And both came out and they become co-founders of this social enterprise. And this social enterprise is actually a cafe. So they are recruiting ex-terrorists who were just released from the prison. They give them training, they give them job, salary, but also give them profit sharing. So they become co-owners of this cafe. And they also recruited school dropouts. So in essence, they're trying to create a lot of social impact in the world. The interesting part of this research is the social entrepreneurs themselves didn't know that what they were doing is called social entrepreneurship. What they know is they just want to help people that had a similar background with them, right? So because they were fellow terrorists, so they know the difficulties faced by other fellow terrorists when they were released from the prison. So they just wanted to help. So as a result, later when some big organizations such as Ashoka came to them and interviewed them and tried to select them to give them a fellowship or award as a social entrepreneur, then they just started to realize, oh yeah, we are social entrepreneurs. So a lot of this phenomena happen in this way. So what's interesting from this research is a number of findings. First of all, I found that the conventional way of dealing with terrorists is perhaps flawed. If you look at the American approach, the European approach, even in many countries in Asia, their approach towards terrorism, and in particular religious terrorism, has been to use punishment and correction approach, or what I call confrontational approach. In this confrontational approach, it's either you use military to suppress the terrorists, you use legal enforcement, you even send your snipers, the expert military guy to go there and hunt them and kill them. And as we have seen in the past 20 years, a lot of this confrontational approach to solving terrorism didn't work. What we eventually saw was a retaliation. Each time a country enhanced the attack against terrorists, the terrorists will retaliate. They will strike even more. So this process of cycle of attacking and counterattacking has never ended. And billions of dollars have been spent to engage in this confrontational approach. And another type of what I call soft confrontational approach is the use of psychological counseling and religious counseling. So they employed or they engaged psychologists, even psychiatrists, and clerics or religious experts to talk to these terrorists and tell them, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, this does not comply with the holy books, this and that. So, and if you tell this to terrorists, it's very difficult because they have a certain way of thinking. Perhaps they believe in what they are supporting so deeply, such that when you tell them that they are wrong, they are not likely to listen to an outsider, whether that outsider is a psychologist or religious expert or clerics. They even will counter and say, have you joined terrorists? And what is your role? What is your expertise in order to tell me that what I'm doing is wrong? You are not in a right position, not in the right role to tell me that what I do is wrong. So that's why we may need an alternative approach. And this is where I see social entrepreneurship can play a role. So social entrepreneurship does not use confrontational approach. Rather, they use what I call emancipatory approach. See, when someone was released from the prison with a terrorist background, the person immediately cannot get a job in the private sector, in the government, or in the civil society sector. The person will be, in essence, discriminated. There will be no job opportunity for this type of person. But a social enterprise will come in and take these people and give them training, give them a hope, even give them a new identity, a new name. So all of these ex-terrorists are usually given a new name when they work in a social enterprise, and they're given new tasks. And what I found, for example, is a humbling process. You see, people become terrorists because they thought they are the most righteous. They are doing a service to what they believe in, and that's why they carry the license to end people's lives, to kill people. The humbling service that they experience in the social enterprise, in this cafe that I'm investigating, for example, they need to cook and they need to serve the food to customers. Now, if you are in a cafe environment, whoever comes into your cafe, you need to serve them, whether that person is different ethnicity from you, come from a different religion, different skin color. You need to serve them because they are a customer, right? So you need to respect them, you need to treat them the same as anyone else. Another part is the brotherhood economic model. Because the way that they structure the social enterprise, all of these former terrorists become co-owners. So from someone who is marginalized in a society, now suddenly they become a co-owner, co-founder of a cafe. It changed how they view their own life. and they feel that they are part of a brotherhood. Now, when people join terrorist movements, they are also looking for some form of a sense of brotherhood, a sense of belonging into a group, a sense of identity, a sense of friendship, more than just friendship. When they join this cafe social enterprise, they are in another form of brotherhood economic model. They have the brotherhood. They feel the brotherhood. They feel they gain economically from working and becoming a co-owner of the cafe. So they really feel their life is really, really totally changed. So that is another interesting finding. But overall, I look at this whole process as a process of emancipating ex-terrorists. And emancipating means you are giving them autonomy, you're giving them the ability to decide who and what they want to be, and what the future life that they want to pursue. And interestingly, many of these ex-terrorists, once they have joined, they, in essence, they become a normal person, live a normal life. They go out to the prisons to reach out to other terrorists who are still in the prisons and to talk to them and show them, look, this is the restaurant, this is the cafe, this is our product. Why don't you try it? It's delicious, isn't it? So they are trying to spread the message about their new life to the people who are still in prison. And this is actually a very good thing. It inspires future terrorists who are going to be released very soon from the prison to know that there is an alternative. There is another way to live your life. You can break away from the chain of the terrorism by joining another movement, which is the social enterprise movement. And they feel this is a very good opportunity, and more and more people are attracted to this. So far, this social enterprise that I'm working on, that I'm researching on, they have helped about 10 to 12 people. I'm sure there are more in the program, in the pipeline. But we know that it has worked well. There may be other limitations, and that is also mentioned in the paper itself. This is the world's first evidence that shows that social entrepreneurship can play a role in counterterrorism activities. And the implications of this research is that we may need to consider an emancipatory approach to addressing terrorism problem. The confrontational approach has its own merit, but also its own limit. But we also know it's very costly. The rehabilitation, the counseling approach has its own merit, but it has its own limitations as well. And the social entrepreneurship, because it's quite holistic, it involves job creation, giving people a new identity, a sense of fairness, being a part of the brotherhood economic model, humbling process, forgiving other people, seeing other people as equal to you, broadening your social network, because once you're in a cafe, you are exposed to many people who are different from you, religiously, ethnically, linguistically, racially. So you are exposed to so many people. So your social network also expanded, and that gradually changes how these former terrorists see their life, see themselves, and how they see the future.